The Fake Baseball Podcast is brought to you by SalaryCapSports.com. Enjoy fantasy baseball and want to give a new format a try? SalaryCapSports.com has got you covered. It's free and you can win cash prizes. Start with $50 million and build your best squad possible before opening day. Score points, win prizes, compete against other people. See if you guys can get in and beat me and Dylan throughout the year. It is tough to build your lineup, which makes it all that more fun. I really had to dive deep to round out my pitchers, make that 50 million work. Player values fluctuate up and down throughout the year, so they're always changing, which always gives you a chance to get the best squad imaginable. So sign up now at salarycapsports.com. That's salarycapsports.com. Win free cash prizes. What is up, everybody? It is a surprise Friday episode. Not really a surprise. We were supposed to record yesterday, but your boy was busy. So it happens. So we are here Friday instead of Thursday. It works out, though. We just had our last episode on Wednesday. For those of you listening on the podcast feed, it means that you got this episode in your eardrums on Thursday. So it works out anyways. And if you're listening to this, whether you're live or on the podcast feed, that means baseball's back, baby. We are here. There has been real games. I have lost legitimate money betting on baseball in 2024. So everything is right with the world. And speaking of right with the world, I am here with my man, Dylan Lydell. How you doing today, Dylan?
Well, you kind of ruined how I was going to flow into this thing. I was going to ask you about your losses so far because you were, we're both really excited after the first game started. And you were saying, oh, man, the Padres, they're putting out such a better lineup today. I'm dropping it on them. And then before they even have their at-bats, they're down 8. Tough loss, tough L.
Dude, that's what I get, too, for thinking shit's sweet and being like, oh, like, no big deal. Like, Padres got a better lineup. Dodgers weren't starting a few key guys. No Ohtani, no Freeman on that little opening day thing. Padres are still running out Tatis. They got Musgrove on the bump. Michael Grove is going for the Dodgers, who last year Michael Grove was not good. So I'm like, damn, like Padres could get out to an early lead and they're plus money right now. So that's on me. I mean, it's also on the Padres because they let the Dodgers bat around in the first inning, which shouldn't do.
I mean, nothing was cheap, though. Dodgers were pissing on balls.
Dude, I thought Teoscar went yard.
That ball was tagged.
It absolutely was. And then it's nice to see Mariners legend Kevin Padlo putting a little stank on the ball and getting that home run as well. When I got to go to the Rainiers, Tacoma Rainiers Media Day, it was 2 years ago now, 2022. It was kind of rained out, so we had to sit in the batting cages. Kevin Padlo was in there in a tank top, taking a ton of BP, just cracking jokes the whole time. One of the funniest baseball players I've ever been around. So it's cool to see him hitting some nukes out there for the Dodgers. I doubt he makes the Dodgers roster, but it's cool. Like he'll play in the minors. But okay, so we're going to get into
the ones we're keeping our eyes on.
No, not really. No. And if you can't tell from the title of the episode, we're going to cover the guys that we are focusing on this spring training to give you guys an insight into who you should keep an eye on, or just some guys you should keep note of as spring training goes along. But I do want to preface this by saying, whether you watch this on the live or in the podcast feed, we love you guys. You guys are the reason that we are able to do what we do. The reason that we have so much fun doing this and why we look forward to doing this multiple times a week for you guys. If you could leave us a 5-star rating and review on whatever podcast platform or YouTube you listen to, subscribe over there. That would be awesome. If you do listen in the live, I want to give you guys a heads up, whether it be on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. We have plans that once opening day starts, we're going to consolidate our lives and we are going to be moving strictly to YouTube. So for now, you guys can see us live on Facebook. You can see us live on Twitter. You can see us live on YouTube. And that's going to continue throughout spring training and the technical off season. But once opening day gets here, we're going to consolidate that down to YouTube. It just makes our lives a little easier for things. And it also makes the video content a little more exclusive if we put it here. It helps us on the back end to be able to potentially make more money in the future, if that makes sense. Not to get into the financial stuff, but it helps us out. So if you guys are watching us live, whether it be on Twitter or on Facebook, or if you're listening on the podcast feed and you want to see us live, just go to the Fake Baseball Pod on YouTube, hit subscribe. You get a notification every time we go live. But now getting into some spring training baseball. Me and Dylan want to cover the guys that we are paying close attention to in this spring. Everybody has a different list of guys that they like for different reasons, obviously. So we just wanted to cover our guys to give a little insight. And my first one, just coming hot right out of the gate, Parker Meadows, center fielder for Detroit. I think he'll technically be a rookie this year. He was up for a cup of coffee last year. Pretty successful year, kind of at the major league level, even though he played like 30 games or something, so not a ton. But he got named as the opening day center fielder for Detroit. And my main focus with Parker Meadows for spring training is I want to see where he bats in the lineup. There was a large stretch last year where he came up where he was batting 7, 8, 9. He got the majority of his bats last year batting in the 7 hole when he was up with Detroit. But in 5 of the Tigers' last 6 games last year, he batted leadoff. And my buddy Mike Curlin, he now runs MLBplayingtime.com. Make sure you guys go check that out if you are interested in lineup projections and such. He does an incredible job over there. He actually has Parker Meadows slotted to hit leadoff against lefties and bat 9th against righties for the upcoming season. There's a ton of upside there with Meadows. He's going like after pick 300 at this point, I think. May have jumped up a little bit. I know in one of my Points Leagues articles, I highlighted him as a player I really like for this upcoming season. He's a guy that kind of does it all. He's just got to get the batting average in check. He had about 24% strikeout rate between AAA and the majors last year, which is great. Double-digit walk rate. He had over 60 extra base hits and stole like 27 bases last year, including 9 triples between the two, which is fucking awesome. Excuse my language, sorry for cousin. But he's somebody that a lot of people should keep an eye on, because if you're not drafting him now, I get it. He's going late enough that you technically don't need to draft him. He can be on your watch list. But he is somebody that if he's going to consistently bat leadoff, especially this spring, he needs to be rostered in the majority of leagues. 8-team league, 10-team league, probably not going to roster Parker Meadows. But sometimes in fantasy, playing time is key. At bats is key. You can't hit more home runs if you don't get more at bats. You can't score more runs if you don't get more at bats. You can't get on base more if you don't get more at bats. And batting leadoff is key. So for me, I'm focusing on Parker Meadows. Dylan, is he somebody that you think could have a big year if he bats leadoff coming into 2024?
Now, Parker Meadows is actually somebody I don't know a ton about. I mean, I don't pay a ton of attention to Tigers baseball. I mean, out of my zone a little bit, but so I'm just taking a quick glance at his Savant page. Came up, played 37 games, hit 232, 29 hits, 19 runs scored. But then just looking at the other numbers, though, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 3 bombs, 9 extra base hits in 37 games. That's a good sample size, 13 RBIs. I mean, 25K or 25% K rate. That's okay as a rookie, especially. But he did show the ability to walk to 90th percentile in sprint speed. Detroit's not the best lineup in the league. Yeah, and also looking at around at like other projected lineups and stuff, it looks like leadoff is where he may end up starting opening day. I think that's a safe projection for him. And yeah, like you said, if you can get around that 450, 500 at bat mark from a leadoff guy, yeah, he should be rostered near everywhere. So keep an eye on him. Let's see if he can cut down on the Ks, get on base a little bit more, and see what happens.
Yeah, when you get into these bigger leagues or like deeper in drafts or even waiver wire for that matter, one of the biggest differentiators for me when you get that late or that deep is at bats, obviously. Like I would much rather have the guy that is going to consistently get more at bats than another guy because there's, especially in like a categories league, there's more opportunity for them to score more runs, drive in more runs, get more hits, things of that nature. So yeah, somebody like a Parker Meadows, kind of overlooked. He was even overlooked at the end of last year. I have a freaking YouTube short of me talking about him last year somewhere. I'll have to find and throw that up with this as well. You guys can go see. Parker Meadows is somebody to keep an eye on. And
Is
again,
his spray
low
chart
strikeout rate, great for a points league.
Is he one of your pull power guys? Or that ability?
He can be.
Yeah.
He can be. He doesn't have elite power. He's more like a doubles guy that can get into some home runs, which is cool. So like it ends up working out. I just want to shout out on YouTube, Papa Bear. What up? Good to see you. You're always here. And I gotta shout out Uncle Ted real quick. Uncle Ted, you have been coming into my live streams on YouTube for over a year now. Always just firing off takes on these minor league guys. It was awesome to see you get some love on Twitter the other night. I think I DM'd you that. So it's cool to see you get some love from Vlad over there at FTN Fantasy also. And to see everybody else that commented that said you like a YouTube chat legend. You're the man, Ted. He said, y'all streams are great. You're great, Ted. You're great, Ted. But moving on from Parker Meadows, Dylan, who is your first person that you are keeping an eye on? Papa Bear, you're excellent as well.
You know, I'll start with one of the young ones. I am going to go with Jackson Holliday.
Ooh-wee.
I mean, yeah, prospect number one in mostly everywhere you look. It looks like he's going to get the nod on opening day as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. Swing looks great. I can't wait to see him in action. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on him. Yeah, I think he's going to be the opening day starting second baseman. He's one of the guys I got my eyes on.
He's a great choice. He's one of those guys that everybody talks about both too much and not enough at the same time.
Right.
He gets talked about so much that he stops getting talked about because everybody's like, oh, well, whatever. Everybody's on him. Not a big deal. But it can't be said enough how close he really is to making that opening day roster. Obviously, he was going to play shortstop. That was his original position. But they got guys like Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westberg, all that. They can play third and short, so they don't really need somebody on that side. But they do have an opening at second base with like Adam Frazier gone. So for Jackson Holliday being able to slide over there, we'll have to see. I guess for me, it would be seeing how his defense translates at second base. Because I was watching that, what do you want to call it, opening spring day game between the Dodgers and the Padres. And they were talking about how Xander Bogaerts moved from short over to second base this year. And they were talking about how it's actually not as easy of a transition as people think because everything's backwards.
It is a little weird. Yeah. I mean, just speaking from my own experience, a lot lower level of experience. It is different. I don't know. There's a weird angle. There's a different, shorter angle you got to get used to at second base. It could get in your head a little bit, but he's young enough to where I think it should be a smooth transition.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And if he can make that smoothly, because I don't think the bat has ever been in question. He's got good plate discipline. He's likely going to hit over 300 as a rookie, which you can't normally say that about a lot of these guys that get called up. But he actually has the hit tool to be able to do that. He has enough pop to get into probably 15 to 20 home runs as a rookie if he plays every day. He has some speed to steal. I mean, in high A, he stole 17 bases, so he's got some quicks. Like, it's there. I don't know if he's going to do that at the majors because he stole 4 bases outside of high A in 60 games. So we'll have to see how the speed translate. But hitting ability wise, it is there. I think he's going around pick 160 right now, and that could honestly be a steal. Because somebody like, I think Corbin Carroll was going around pick 160.
What did he go in
last year?
Round 12 in our thing the other day?
Yeah. So around 12, that'd be like right around pick 150. If you guys want to see that, we did the Great Fantasy Baseball Invitational mock draft on the Fantasy Pros Mock Draft Simulator live the other day. We have the full recording up on YouTube, so you can see all of our picks in real time as they happen. See us breaking everything down. It was a fun episode, but yeah, I think Holiday is going to be great. And it was really cool seeing that video of how essentially he turned his house into a fucking baseball facility.
For sure.
But I mean, he threw a pickleball court in there too, which is cool. But the fact that you can essentially live in a fucking batting cage and just practice hitting all the time, and your dad's Matt Holiday, you got a lot of good stuff going for you. Next up for me, people I'm keeping an eye on. Me and Dylan give our lists beforehand, so we kind of know like who we're gonna talk about, so we can prep. Obviously, everybody show prep. One of my guys was Christopher Morel. It was before he hit that fucking tank of a home run today. I'm not gonna lie. Like Christopher Morel was already on my list. He just so happened to hit that tank of a home run and become the top of baseball Twitter.
I gotta go look at it quick. I didn't come across it yet.
I swear to God, I will never understand how a man that is like 5'8", 145 pounds can hit absolute piss missiles consistently. It's not even like he got into 2 or 3 over the course of a year and it's like, wow, that's crazy. No, like he hit like 30 last year, or 32 or something like that. And he did it the year before, and he's probably going to do it again.
3-0, you just let loose.
And so my thing is, I'm not, much like Jackson Holiday for you, I'm not paying attention to his bat. We know what Christopher Morel is at the plate. A mighty mouse, essentially. That's not changing. Nothing he can do in spring training.
New manager. One of the first things he mentioned is that he wants this guy to be playing regardless of position. Mm-hmm. He wants him in the lineup because of the bat potential.
That's a perfect segue, because that's what I want to pay attention to this spring is where are they going to play him? And how well is he going to do defensively? Because you can say that as a manager, but if you stick Christopher Morel out there at he's played literally everywhere. If you stick him out there at like second base and he's got 6 errors in the first 2 games of the season,
he'll be fine.
I feel like he might not play second base moving on from that. So I want to see. He played third today. I think he only really had 2 balls come to him, a couple routine ground balls that he fielded perfectly, which is what you'd expect. It's good to see. But he didn't really do anything today to get overly excited about, even though Twitter did go fucking crazy with.
My ball was tagged. I didn't go look. That thing was tagged too.
It was. I don't think I've ever seen him hit a home run that would just barely clear defense. Like everything he hits is just
it's legit. Rocket. It's legit.
Oh, but Dylan, who is your next up that you are paying attention to?
I got Yoshida next. I'll go with another rookie after you give your next one. But Yoshida's one for me. This is a guy, I really wanted him in my first draft last year. Didn't have the chance to grab him. This was a guy, he was in the AL rookie MVP talks last year, but it was really a bad second half that he fell out of the race. Fangraphs, they dropped a really good article a day or 2 ago, noting Adam Jones compared him to Juan Soto when he was teammates with him in Japan. Yeah, and the first half of the season, he was hitting with a 109 WRC plus. He had a walk rate of 8.7%, strikeout rate of 11.3. Money, those are near elite numbers. And then got his highs up to like a 129 WRC plus, but then come the second half of the season, he was all the way down to a 68 WRC plus and 180 plate appearances, down to a 260 batting average. Just not the same plate discipline, swinging out the zone, not getting his pitches, trying to press a little bit, I think. But I think if he can get in the right mindset again, right approach, this is a guy that should be hovering around the 280 mark, maybe 300s, hit the 15 bomb mark if he really gets into some. I don't know. I don't think he's that 250 hitter that we saw the second half of last season. So he's going to be a guy I want to see not chasing so much and sticking to his plan.
That's a really good call out. I had heard that he fell off a little bit in the second half of last year. I didn't pay as close attention to it as I could. Unfortunately, in the baseball world, we try and pay attention to every single player as much as we can. But there's so many fucking players in baseball that it's not always that easy. I didn't realize he fell off. I love Yoshida in Boston. Got a sweet left-handed swing that plays well with that short fence in right field. But just looking at his numbers, that first half strikeout rate almost doubled in the second half. He was almost a 20% strikeout rate, which, don't get me wrong, that's still like a pretty good strikeout rate. But his walk rate also dipped to like 2% in the second half, which is nuts. So I don't know if it was him trying to force the issue. I'll have to go check the pitcher list, the PLV app, hitters app, and see how his pitch hitability was throughout the year. I can do that live while we're on here too, and see maybe part of the issue could have been they just weren't giving him anything to hit in the second half. And then it becomes interesting because like a Jarren Duran, for example, somebody that did so well in the first half of the year and then kind of fell off in the second half. And you're like, what the hell happened to Jarren Duran? It's because his pitch hitability fell off an absolute cliff. For whatever reason, pitchers just stopped giving Jarren Duran pitches to hit. And so with Yoshida in the second half of the year, it looks like his pitch hitability went up. Very up from the first half of the year. So that's interesting. I wonder if it could have been some fatigue. I know he came over from the Japanese or the KBO, whichever one it was, MPB or KBO. He came over, so maybe it could have been a little fatigue in that second half. Yeah, he's a good one to keep an eye on in this spring to see if it was just some fatigue or if there is like some hurry up in his swing now that wasn't there in the first half of last year, which could be an issue. And thanks to StatCast, we can keep track of stuff like that during the spring, which I absolutely love. Although a lot of teams don't have a lot of StatCast covered games this year. I saw.
Boo.
Lame. Put StatCast in every stadium all the way down to fucking rookie ball, please, just so I can have all the info that I need at all times instead of having to guess or ask 800 people. We need the numbers. That's how we do this. That reminds me of the Seattle Mariners. That guy. I thought about hitting him up to see if I could buy him a beer when I go to New York in a couple weeks for Tout Wars.
Oh, that'd be dope.
That would be fucking cool. I might hit him up and see if I could buy him a beer when we go out there. Yeah, Yoshida, great call. I like that one a lot because especially we've been big on points leagues lately. Yoshida's a points league superstar.
He fits that building. Yeah,
points league. Even that shitty second half, he was still a decent points league guy because strikeout rate below 20%. Gonna hit you some doubles, and that wall in right field is about as tall as Jose Altuve, so it's really easy to hit home runs over that. So there is upside there.
Bounce them over.
Exactly. My last guy that I am keeping an eye on this spring is. So I'm going to preface that by saying I'm trying to get better at keeping track of pitchers. I pride myself on my ability to really hone in on hitters. I've done very well at that over the years. I will say, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. The 2023 Fantasy Pros expert ranking standings came out. Your boy did not do very good. I will throw that out there. I did not do very good, unfortunately. Follow my voice, not my rankings. But I was the number one. I think there's 58 of us. I was number one in ranking third baseman last year. Number 3 in ranking catchers. So, yep. Sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Not always, but sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Pitchers are interesting, though. I'm getting better at it. So I'm trying to highlight more pitchers this spring training that I'm trying to keep an eye on, especially with the new wave of guys learning new pitches. One I want to pay attention to is Hunter Greene. So we know he has a devastating fastball. We know he has a wipeout slider, which is actually arguably better than slider. Excuse me. His slider is arguably better than his fastball. Great pitch. And this offseason, he has decided that he now wants to throw a splitter and a curveball that he's trying to add into his rotation. I haven't seen any footage of the splitter, but I have seen a couple curveball videos. It's a good-looking curveball. Now, I wish he had swapped out the splitter for more of a changeup. Even if you wanted to try and throw like that power change that Miami seems to teach all of their pitchers out there. Edward Cabrera has a great power change. Sandy Alcantara has a great power change. And I think when you're somebody like Hunter Green that throws 104 miles an hour, you could throw a power change that's sitting about 94, and it's gonna be a great pitch. Still enough of a speed difference. So I'm iffy about the splitter because, as our friend Nick Pollock says, you need to have an in the zone. You need to be able to throw strikes before you can add something like a splitter that is not a pitch that you throw 4 strikes. So I'm curious to see how that goes. I want to see some data on it. I know there's going to be some people on Twitter that are going to put up excellent data on these pitches. If he can get even one of the 2 pitches down, if he can keep his fastball up in the zone, keep the slider low, and if he can get the splitter or the curveball to work, just one of them, give him a third okay pitch, Hunter Green's stock could go up if he can throw. He's also got to stay healthy, but his stock could really go up. He's one of the elite strikeout guys in baseball. That cannot be overlooked. I bet on him last year to lead the league in strikeouts, and I'm actually thinking about doing the same thing for this year just for shits and giggles to see what happens. But yeah, if you can get one of those pitches going, that fastball and slider are both going to become even more elite. Who's your last guy over there, Dylan?
I got another pitcher. He's a rookie though. I got Yoshinu Yamamoto of the LA Dodgers.
Ooh, yes.
Man, he was the next big bag boy down there in LA next to Shohei Ohtani. It wasn't 700 mil, but it was 300 mil. I would still take that. Just, I would sign up for that any day of my life. But the thing that's really intriguing to me about him is when these people come from overseas, like Japan, Korea, they'll come over their first season or 2 and really dominate, show a lot of good stuff, and then they'll kind of gas out, get fatigued, injuries, stuff like that. They're also a little bit older in age too. Yamamoto's 24, 25 years old. Not a lot of these guys are coming over so young. And so I think he's got a chance to really imprint his name and stay around for a lot longer than a lot of these other guys have. And I'm really excited about Roki too, whenever his time comes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Roki. Who's the other one? He's not a pitcher. The bat.
Talk about the high school kid.
No, he's not the Stanford guy. He was on the Japan team, third baseman.
I know who you're talking about. I can't name it.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
yes. Doesn't matter. But a lot of these get so much talent over there in Japan, and I don't think it gets recognized even enough. He's one that I'm gonna have a sharp eye on because his bullpen videos are nasty.
I agree. Like, he tunnels his pitches so well, which obviously goes a long way towards getting strikeouts and getting outs and being a great pitcher. But I like the point you make about how young he came over here. Because I don't think that's talked about enough. That's a very good point. A lot of these guys play over there, and obviously they have to be there for X amount of time before they can be posted and then come play over here. And it feels like a lot of these guys just continue to play over there, get a bigger name, which I get it. Like, baseball is such a big part of their culture over there.
Yeah. How old is the guy that the Giants signed the bat?
Young-Ho Lee.
Yeah.
About the same age, I think, or 26.
So you're around the same age?
Somewhere around there, I think. And so for Yamamoto, essentially, it feels like he reached the first point when he could be posted and was like, all right, send me. Which doesn't feel like it happens enough with those guys. So, yeah, for him to come over here, I know Senga just came over here last year. Very dominant over there. But he's like 28.
And already, what's he running into?
Oh, his back. Yeah, we got to highlight that too. That's an excellent point. Like, talked about how they wear out. Senga was so good last year. That ghost fork is a legitimately good candidate for best out pitch in baseball. Good. Mm-hmm. He just struggles to throw strikes. But yeah, he really wore down in that second half. And now we hear that he has I think it's a back issue is what it has. And it's like a legitimate.
I heard it was a shoulder. No? Or is
that's
it
even
back?
Worse. It's one or the other.
Okay, I
It's
thought it
bad
was a
enough for him to
shoulder.
start the year on the IL. And
Yeah,
so
that's
I haven't dug deep
mm,
enough into it, but I will say the last thing I saw was somebody said the best case scenario for him is to come back June 1st. I don't know how true that is, so I probably shouldn't say it on here because I didn't look into it that much. But if that's the case, Kodai Senga was one of those guys that you were targeting in like that 5th, 6th round as a very high end SP2, like a Kyle Bradish, essentially. And now I don't think so. I don't want anything to do with Kyle Bradish. I think we talked about that on the episode after his injury got announced. Senga, I will still draft, but I mean, I'm not taking Senga before.
Man, I don't know. Did you see Big Frank from Barstool's reaction about it? They're doomed. They're going to have 420 game losers. Did you see it?
I did not.
Oh, you have to go check that one out. Shout out Big Frank, man.
I love him. I saw I see Barstool videos all the time. I saw a Jersey Jerry video earlier.
He's by far my favorite.
He was playing poker, and he's like, somebody send me the Drake video right now. And like while they're playing poker, and then he opened it up, and he was like, "These guys aren't even sending me Drake videos. Like this is just a video of him." And then he just went quiet, and his face looked like he just like fucking went to war.
PTSD,
fucking cracking me up.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and send it to you, but he went on this total just rampage. Oh no, we're doomed. We're gonna have 420 game losers. We're done. It's over.
God, yeah. I mean, their rotation.
He goes on some tangents, man. He's choosing on his damn glasses.
Yeah.
His
baseball knowledge is crazy though.
It's
like
insane.
the fact that he can just go
it's
back.
Not even just baseball, but like he'll do it with a lot of other sports too. Like
I saw him do with Heisman stuff too.
Encyclopedia, yeah. For sure. He knows his shit. He's goals, legit, man. He's legit.
That's goals. Fucking allergies. We got a cat like a month and a half ago, and I'm learning that I might be slightly allergic to cats. Which a great time to learn you're allergic to animals is after you get an animal. It's like the best time.
My seasonal allergies are starting to kick in now. I feel it.
It is that time of year. Sun is out in Washington, which we don't get to say very often. We seem to be in the minority in the baseball world for sports fans being on the West Coast. Everybody that I know in this business is fucking on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, this is the last day of it though, because high school tryouts start next week here, and it looks like it's going back to downpours. Nothing like Peoria or nothing.
Sounds about right.
Worried about Brash. One last thing. Sorry. One last.
Oh no, you're good. I have like two last things. So Brash. Matt Brash got shut down for a little bit right now. If you guys know, we are huge Matt Brash guys on the show. Not the most fantasy value because he's just an elite saves guy or hold guy, excuse me. So I guess if you're in like a saves plus holds league, Matt Brash is a good option there. But he just got shut down because he's having a little bit of a. I don't even think they said the issue. I think they just said that he just didn't feel comfortable or felt kind of uncomfortable after his last throwing session. So I don't think it's anything too major. It sounds like it happened last year too, or previously as well.
That's what it was sounding like. Just more precautions. Same thing with Santos as well.
Yes, Santos worries me a little more just because his is like a.
Well, that's what he kind of came over with. Like that was a concern coming over. So that's We'll
have to see how that plays out. I want to point out Uncle Ted just blowing up the YouTube comments again. Shout out you. Ryan Pepiot is my biggest breakout pitcher. He's honestly my biggest breakout pitcher as well. Ryan Pepiot is going to be elite this year. I think he has great strike pitches, great out pitches. I need to see how late he can work into games. I like to see rookies that can get like 150 innings or even 130 innings would be cool, but I have my doubts if he can hit 100 innings. If he can hit 100 plus innings, then I think he's a great pick. And he said, Yainer Diaz, everywhere I can get him. Bro, me and you are riding that train together. I am taking Yainer Diaz in every single draft I can get him.
Did this Pepiot guy come from the Glasnow trade?
Yes, he did. He was like the key piece in return for Glasnow. So
yeah,
he has great stuff. If I remember correctly, I was just listening to
he looks like the exact same guy. What?
He looks or I was just listening to Nick Pollock and Eno Saris' new podcast, The Craft. I don't normally shout out other people's podcasts on here, but if you guys are looking for a great podcast to listen to about pitchers, they come into each episode. They both have a pitcher, and they kind of just go back and forth about. It's like they'll go back and forth about Nick's pitcher, break it down, and then they'll go back and forth about Enos's pitcher and break it down. They were just talking about Ram Pepio in one of their newer episodes. Great listen. But yes, Yenner Diaz, I want him everywhere. I think he could hit 285 with 35 home runs this year. If he gets, that's a bold prediction, but it's possible. And Uncle Ted also said Frankie Montas is the Reds pitcher for him to watch since he gave him 15 mil. That's too much money to ignore for such a cheap team. That is true. He was great with the A's. He sucked with the Yankees, and then he dealt with the injuries. So it's just a matter of which version of him are you going to get. I think he's a little bit of a fly ball pitcher. Good strikeout guy. A little bit of a fly ball pitcher, which does worry me.
Wow. Cincy especially a little bit.
Yeah. So if he can keep that number closer to 1 home run per 9, then I think he could be good because I think he strikes out. He probably have like a 25% K rate. I have to see where the walk rate's at. So there's some value there. He's going very late in drafts too, fantasy wise. So great one to key in on. But with that, make sure you guys follow us on all of our socials at Fake Baseball on Twitter, the Fake Baseball Podcast on Facebook, at Fake Baseball Pod on YouTube. And again, remember, we are only going live on Twitter and Facebook until opening day. So if you're watching us there, hop on over to the YouTube, hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification every single time we go live. We're going to continue these 2 episodes a week through the entirety of the season. Follow me on Twitter at Balake. Follow Dylan at DLydell_09. And we'll catch you guys next week.